Yeah, welcome to Big Boof Bets. It's the Get the Money podcast. I am Nate Stevenson, and I'm joined by Mr. Tony T-Bone Guarino. Tony, I'm still very upset about last night.
I would say thank God it's Friday, but I guess I'm just thank God last night's over, but not in the way we want it to be.
Oh my God, yes. We were, for those out there listening, we were supposed to record last night, and the way the Steeler game ended, putting, because I bought points up on the total, which was fine because it was at 40. And then the lateral rugby crap at the end of the game that just fumbled into the end zone, and the Browns recovered to make the total 46 and bust most of my parlays. Had me so upset.
Yeah, I would wish the old natural disaster on the area here, but given that I have so much family in the area, I think I'll hold off on the natural disaster and maybe I'll just start looking at real estate elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah. The only disaster was my most of my parlays for the week, which is why we had to redo them all, except for the Get Out Joe free one. So
No, I guess it's the benefit of recording today. A fresh mind, fresh perspective. We'll see what we can make of it.
yeah, yeah. Let's hope so. Let's. You ready to get going?
Yeah, let's first check and see what we made of last week. How did we round out on the money picks last week?
Money picks last week. We came back. We came back to the mean, unfortunately, after going 6-3 in week one. We went 4-7 in week two. The losers were New Orleans +3, which sucked because that was 3-3 in the fourth quarter before all hell broke loose. Miami, Baltimore under 44.5. I was just wrong on that. That was a shootout. Cincinnati -7. Who would have thought that Cincinnati improving their offensive line actually made their offensive line worse? They just lost outright to the Cowboys. Denver -9.5. Again, Russ could not cook. That should have been a cover. It was not. Carolina, Minnesota teaser. Carolina covered their portion. Minnesota, unfortunately, experienced primetime Kirk Cousins, which we did not take into account. That blew that teaser.
Now you have no time, Kirk Cousins.
Right. Cleveland, Cincinnati teaser. They both lost, obviously, Cincy before, and then Cleveland blew theirs in unbelievable fashion, which I got to share real quick that teams leading by 13 plus points in the final 2 minutes had won their last 2,229 games in a row. And the last team to blow such a lead was the Browns in week 9 of 2001. So the Browns just like to blow big leads in last 2 minutes.
The most Browns stat I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, 2,229 games in a row have been won.
If anybody had to break it, I mean, the Browns would be the likely candidate. So there you go.
They're like, let's break our own streak. Let's start a new one. But yes, and then the last one was the Washington and Steeler teaser. The I almost called them the Redskins. The Commanders lost by 9, so they barely missed that one. It's 4-7 on the week. We are 1-5 on teasers for the year, so maybe we need to look into what we're doing there. Because if we didn't do any teasers, we'd be up comfortably, actually. So that has been a weak point to start the year, and I really wish I would have added the New Orleans Tampa Bay under and the Steelers New England under. I really liked both of those last week. Regret not putting them in there. We wouldn't have had quite as bad of a week too, but alas, it is what it is. We're 10-10, 50%, and we're on to week 3.
A lot of promise out there, so let's just go ahead and get started with it. Although, like you said, avoid the teasing and just get straight into the action. There you go, right?
Right.
No teasing necessary. All right, so we start this week off with the Baltimore Ravens at the New England Patriots. The Patriots are getting 2.5, and your over-under is at 44.5.
My, the mighty have fallen. The Patriots are dogs at home. I still don't think this is a very good football team, and Baltimore laying 2.5. We're just going to keep this real simple. I think they're better on both sides of the ball at quarterback and at the skill positions. We are laying under a field goal. We are going to lock in Baltimore -2.5 and get that money pick.
Oh yeah, get that money pick. All right, I like that. We can keep that one in there. Well, we're still trying to workshop that. Let's see what happens there.
Right.
Okay. Up next, we have the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins getting 5.5 here, and the over/under at 52.5.
Buffalo is a train I do not want to get in front of. I mean, that offense, they have just looked absolutely amazing, dominating both opponents the first 2 weeks of the season. But they do have some injuries on defense, specifically in the secondary. And after what Miami did with all that speed against Baltimore, I definitely do not want to lay the points with Buffalo. I do think they still win the game, but I don't. This will not surprise me if this is a close game, and I think highly probable a shootout. 52 and a half. Yeah, I'd be tempted to take the over if it was 51 and a half, but probably just going to buy it down, take the over in some parlays, and move on.
Fair enough. Let's head into Carolina here. So we got the New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers. More home dogs. Carolina Panthers getting 2.5, and the over/under at 40.5.
I think the best bet in this game is under 40 and a half, but I just don't trust Jameis Winston's ability to score points for the other team right now. I don't think he's the Jameis of old, but he has, from what I understand, he has a broken back that he's playing through, which sounds horribly painful. I don't. My lean would be to lay the points with New Orleans because they are the better team all the way around. But coming off that emotional loss to Tampa Bay, going on the road to Carolina, Carolina does have some skill. That scares me away from a side. Like I said, I would lean under with McCaffrey being limited. His injuries starting this year, so fantasy players beware. I think Boof traded for him, so that probably has something to do with that. Um,
Oh, watch out.
yeah, but yeah, just a lean to New Orleans and a lean to the under.
All right. Well, then let's head on over to the Kansas City Chiefs at the Indianapolis Colts. Colts getting 5.5, more home dogs, and the over/under at 50.5.
I love the Chiefs here. Indy has looked completely awful the first 2 weeks, and this is definitely not a week one overreaction. This is a week 1 and 2 reaction because I just think Indy's not that good. Matt Ryan is not giving them what they were hoping for at quarterback. They have limited depth at receiver past Pittman, and Pittman's missed last week, so you wouldn't expect him to be 100% this week coming off injury. Their Shaq Leonard still hasn't played defensively, and KC indoors on the turf laying under a touchdown. I know they don't got Tyreek Hill, but I just think that is way too good to pass up. We locked it in at 6.5 early in the week, so I actually thought it was going to go up to 7. So if you didn't lock it in yet, you got 5.5 now. Uh,
I was just gonna say this feels totally like a 7. I think it's just the home field 1.5. I can't see why they made this 5.5, or who the hell is betting this down 5.5? Whatever, we'll take
yeah,
it.
yeah. The crazy part is a lot of the so-called experts this week are all just like, oh yeah, this is Indy
This is the
plus
spot
points.
for Indy. This is a spot.
Sometimes teams just suck. Like
Yeah.
Indy is not anywhere near as good as KC. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't get it. So but we already posted it. So just to reconfirm, it is 5.5 now. We locked it in at 6.5 earlier, laying the points with KC. So we're lock it in and get that money pick.
Oh yeah, get that money. Pick. All right, then. Up next, we have the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings laying 6, and your over/under at 52.5.
Already bet the Lions +7 in the early lines this week. That the Steelers Browns total destroyed that parlay, so that was looking promising until it didn't. So at 6, I would still lean Detroit. I love them at a touchdown. I don't like it nearly as much at under a touchdown. I do think this is going to be a shootout, hence the 52.5 total. So my lean would be Detroit +6 and over 52.5. Don't like either of them enough to lock it in. And just food for thought for everybody. Both games last year were decided by 2 points. So I don't think you can go wrong. Buying a couple points if you want to be safe over a touchdown with Detroit and putting them in, and buying the total down a few points, and taking the over in some parlays. So that's what as you guys will see later, that is what I'm going to be doing in some of my parlays. But no official pick here.
All right, let's mosey on back east here. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Commanders. The Commanders getting 6.5, and you're over under at 47.5.
I'm tempted to lay the 6.5 with Philly. I really am. I think they are undoubtedly the better team in this matchup. Carson Wentz has already showed you both ends of his possible range of outcomes this year already, within the same game, both games, honestly. So, although Washington does have the talent on offense to make this a game, this is really going to come down to if Carson Wentz can play a whole game. I don't think he can. So, I love Philly to win. I definitely lean laying the points with Philly. I don't think you can go wrong if you put him in a teaser. So, actually, you know what? We're going to tempt fate again, and we're going to put him in a teaser. We're going to tease Philly down from 6.5 down to a half, and we're going to pair them with the Chargers, who I feel pretty safe about this week. They're playing the Jaguars. They are laying 7. So we're going to do one teaser this week. That's it. We're not going to go crazy. We're going to go Philly minus a half and pair them up with the Chargers -1. And let's lock it in and get that teaser money pick.
Oh, yeah. Get that teaser money pick. Well, that's a lot of words there. We'll get that. Yeah. Early in the year, shaking off the rust. All right. Up next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are getting 1.5, and the over/under is 45.5.
Something I've been keeping an eye on. I shouldn't say keeping an eye on. Kind of going into this year with Tennessee is I don't think they're a very good team. And so far, 2 games into this year, they are proving me right. They are rightfully, in my opinion, an underdog at home to Las Vegas, but the Raiders only laying 1.5. I mean, I think that's an awesome side. The Tennessee rush offense has been the worst in the NFL. That is the Derrick Henry led Tennessee rush offense. Now, on top of that, they are without their left tackle and their left guard, so their offensive line has gotten weaker. They also have injuries on defense to some of their secondary, a couple corners, I believe. Their top pass rushers out for the year. Conversely, you have the Raiders, who, in my opinion, should be at least 1-1. They played the Chargers tough in week 1, and then last week they were up 20-0. I think they just took their foot off the gas and had some bad luck against the Cardinals. So Vegas clearly the better side here. We're gonna lock in the Raiders laying 1.5 and get that money pick.
Oh, yeah, get that money pick. Okay, moving on. Then we have the Houston Texans at the Chicago Bears. The Bears laying 3, and the over/under at 40.5.
All right, for some of the people out there that like to text me this is a poop plus poop matchup. But guess what? I want some of this poop. I want some +3 Texan poop. Because
everything's bigger in Texas, so be careful.
I just think that Houston is slightly better, and that Chicago should be favorites against nobody right now. Houston played the Colts tough, probably should have won. They played the Broncos tough, maybe could have won. And then Chicago, honestly, they were in a normal non-monsoon game, they would have got blown out against San Francisco in week 1, and they did get blown out against Green Bay in week 2. So I just do not see how Chicago should be favored here. Give me the field goal with Houston. We're going to lock it in and get that money. Pick.
Oh, yeah. Get that money. Pick. Okay, so then the final 1 o'clock game for Sunday afternoon is the Cincinnati Bengals at the New York Jets. The Jets are getting 6, and you're over under at 45.5.
I am very tempted to lay the 6 with Cincy, but their offensive line has just looked so bad these first 2 weeks. I can't do it. I think they'll win. Um, but yeah, almost a touchdown too much against the Jets team that is pretty strong on the defensive line. And until Cincy shows that they've shored up their offensive line issues, they will not gain enough trust of mine to make them a lock at this point in the East. At least this early in the season anymore. I've gotten burned twice by them, I believe. So yeah, that's a no for me, and I'd lean under, and that's it.
Okay, let's move on up to the 4 o'clock hour. Start things there with the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers laying 7, as we indicated earlier, and the over-under at 47.5.
Tell you what, 7 with Jacksonville is intriguing, especially with the injury to Herbert. Jacksonville's definitely better with Peterson and head coach. They've improved on both sides of the ball. Even Lawrence is starting to look a little bit better. So you can definitely see the fruits of that new coaching staff, how the improvement there with the Jaguars. But Herbert still is playing, so I do like the Chargers to win. And so we're just going to leave them in that teaser we said earlier and move on.
Oh, yeah, leave them in the teaser. Money pick. All right, moving on. We have the Atlanta Falcons at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks laying the 1 here, and the over-under at 42.
Another team that should not be laying points, in my opinion, in the Seahawks, who I think are just slightly above the Bears in terms of bad teams in the NFL. Now without Jamal Adams on defense, so that's another reason to downgrade the Seahawks even more. Then you have the Falcons, who have been pretty frisky to start the year, looked pretty good in that week 1-point loss to the Saints that honestly they should have won if not for a late fumble. And then showing a lot of heart and coming back and making it a close game against the Rams last week. They are getting a point. I think the 12th man is getting too much credit here because they can't play quarterback for the Seahawks. I like the Atlanta offense. I like how Atlanta's secondary matches up against those Seattle receivers. We are getting a point, and we're going to take that point, baby. We're going to lock in the Falcons and get that money. Pick!
Oh, yeah. Get that money. Pick. All right. Up next, we have the Green Bay Packers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucks laying 1.5, and you're over under at 42.
So last year, Buccaneers only lost 2 games at home, 1 in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs. And the last 2 years, 4 of their 5 home losses have come against the likes of New Orleans and the Rams, and the 5th one being against the Chiefs. So that's some pretty high quality competition. And then they also handled the Packers pretty easily last year. I know both teams have a lot of injuries I should say the Buccaneers have a lot of injuries at receiver. Green Bay just doesn't have any. So the lack of outside threats on both teams, I definitely think this is going to be a low scoring game. They both like to run the ball, even with these 2 awesome Hall of Fame quarterbacks. At this point, both these teams are actually ball control running teams and with good defenses. Tampa Bay having the better run defense, and their record at home makes me like Tampa Bay laying the 1.5. So we're going to do that. And then we're also going to take the under 42 in this game for a double lock and a get that money double pick.
Oh, yeah. Get that money. Picks. All right, the final 4 o'clock game for Sunday is the Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals home dogs here with the plus 3.5 and the over-under at 48.5.
Sean McVay, who's still better than Mike Tomlin, Mr. Boofy. But I'm going to hear about that later. Sean McVay is 9-1-1 against the spread and 10-1 straight up against Cliff Kingsburger. I know it's Barry, but he just sucks. He doesn't deserve his name. He said right. So I like the Rams to win. The only thing the only thing giving me a little pause from laying the points to the Rams is they do have some cluster injuries in the secondary. But the Cardinals are also without D-Hop. So I think that those should balance each other out. If we are under a field goal, I'd probably lay it with the Rams, but we're over a field goal. So we're just going to lean the Rams and put their money line in some parlays.
Fantastic. Okay, that takes us to the Sunday night game, which is the San Francisco 49ers at the Denver Broncos. It's a home dog type of week. We got the Broncos +1, and you're over-under at 45.
So Russ has not been cooking. I don't expect that to change this week. I know he has familiarity with the 49ers, but he's without Jerry Jeudy. And that offense hasn't looked good when he had Jerry Jeudy. Now he doesn't have Jerry Jeudy. And then you have the 49ers, who, in my opinion, got an upgrade at quarterback by getting Garoppolo back. Obviously not a Pro Bowler by any means, but Garoppolo is a top 15 quarterback in the league. He's not really going to hurt you. He's going to run that offense. He's going to get the ball to their playmakers, most notably Debo, who has looked awesome this year. I think the right side is San Francisco, and I'm going to lay the 1, and I'm also going to take the under 45 because I don't expect the Broncos to do much on offense again. So we're going to do it again. We're going to do side and total. San Francisco -1, under 45. Double lock. Double get that money pick.
Oh, yeah. Get that money. Picks. All right, that brings us to the final Week 3 game, the Monday night game, which is the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Giants laying 1, and you're over-under at 39.5.
Lean to the Giants here at home. I think they will do a better job of not letting Cooper Rush jump out to a lead like the Bengals did last week. I don't think the Giants are that great of a team, but I just think you're seeing the results of a good coaching staff. Brian Dable, I like what I've seen from him so far. Loved what he did with Buffalo last year, and he is definitely looking to be one of those guys that actually has a competent head on his shoulders. So lean to the Giants, laying the point, and lean to the under 39.5. I'm not going to take it because it's just, this could just be, these Giants-Cowboys games just seem to be close sometimes. It wouldn't surprise me if it's freaking like 21-20 or 22-20 or something like that. So we're going to stay away from the total, just lean to the Giants -1.
All right, well, that wraps up the Week 3 matchups here. So why don't you go ahead and lay those money picks back on us?
All right. Yes, we had 11 money picks this week. Stress on had because we posted the Steelers Browns under 38, which unfortunately was a loss. So already starting the week going 1. We don't like that at all. The rest of the money picks, we had the Chiefs -6.5. Again, you can get that at 5.5 now. So go out there and grab it if you haven't. So I definitely think that's going to go back up. Baltimore -2.5. The Las Vegas Raiders -1.5. Houston Texans +3. Atlanta +1. Tampa Bay -1.5. And also the Green Bay Tampa Bay under of 42 points. San Francisco -1, and also the under in that game, San Francisco Denver under 45. And we're not going crazy, just going one teaser this week. That is Philly laying a 0.5 point and the Chargers laying a point in that 6-point teaser.
That sounds like 10 more winners than me.
I like it.
But more importantly, Nate, this show isn't about us. We do like to make money. We're here for the people. So you know what time it is.
Ah, yes. It's the parlays for the people time, baby. Let's go. Oh, yes. It is my favorite time. Hopefully everybody did not place the early posting that I did put out there before. If you did, the top 3 tiers are dead. I'm sorry. Yell at the Steelers and Browns for that. If you did, the Get Out Jail Free parlay is still alive, which was the Chargers money line, Philly money line, KC money line, Baltimore money line, San Francisco, Denver under 51.5, Green Bay, Tampa Bay under 52.5, Buffalo, Miami over 42.5, and Atlanta plus 8.5. And that was 8 legs for plus 918. That will be our official get out of jail free for record keeping purposes parlay for this week. But seeing that everything else is dead, we got to give the people what they want. So I'm just going to do what I normally do. What me and Boofy normally do, what me and Tony normally do. If you lose on Thursday, just make some more. So we made some more. And this week's Lotto Parlay, if I could get the words out of my mouth, we're going to go with Baltimore money line, Buffalo money line, and over 42.5, Carolina plus 11.5 and under 52.5, KC minus 5.5, Detroit plus 8.5 and over 42.5. Philly money line, Raiders money line, Texans plus 3.5. Cincy money line, Chargers money line, Atlanta plus 3.5. Tampa Bay plus 8.5 and under 48.5 for the game. Rams money line and 49ers plus 8.5 and under 53.5 for 19 legs and plus 69,240 on the odds, which means a $100 bet will win you $69,240.80, just a little under 70 G's, so we don't hate that. And again, I will post the Parlays for the People 2.0 this week on Twitter and Facebook, so make sure you guys check that out for the all of the tiers, and because we are going to just skip ahead to the Get Out of Jail Free Parlay 2.0. Hey, maybe we'll hit both of them. That'd be awesome. And that is Buffalo, Miami over 42.5, KC money line, Detroit plus 17.5 and over 42.5. I just don't see how Detroit loses this game big if they do lose, and I like a lot of points in that game. Philly money line, again, don't see how they lose. Vegas plus 8.5. I think if they do lose, it's going to be a close game, but I expect them to win. We're tempting fate putting the Cincinnati money line in there. I do think they will get it done. Chargers money line, Falcons plus 8.5. If we like them to win, we like them plus 8.5 points. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, we bought that up to 48.5 and took the under. Honestly, it won't surprise me if this game is in the low 30s or even below. So if you want to get frisky and sell some points on the total, give it a whirl. And then lastly, San Francisco, Denver, under 53.5. Bought some points up, took the under. Again, don't expect a lot from the Denver offense. And expect a little bit of regression from that San Francisco offense now that Denver is going to have a chance to prepare for Garoppolo and not Lance. So, in the Mile High, we're going to go under 53.5. And that's 11 legs for plus 1578 on your odds, which means a $100 bet will win you $1,578.82. Let's hit 2 Get Out of Jail Free parlays this week, Tony. What do you say?
Oh man, I hope not to be locked up that much, but I'll definitely take the get out of jail free cards.
I hear that. Let's do it. And with that, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks, Tone, for doing your awesome stuff that you do. Boof, we miss you, buddy. We'll see you in a few weeks. And for that, I am Nate Stevenson, and I'm, as always, joined by
me, which is Tony T-Bone Garino.
Hope all your parlays hit and your beats would never be bad. I'll just I'll keep tongue tying that up and say it in something weird way every week.
I kind of like it. Let's keep it different every week.
All right, we'll see you next week, everybody. Get that money!
Yeah, get that money. Picks.